crois que notre admiration pour les... je cite les noms, les Chaplin, les Griffith, les Stroheim, les Fred Niblo, les Clarence
On met en prison.
Bronze burning. He sees the check.
E allora succede questo, che
du parfait générique.
What was it, Phil?
It's just, you know, we have to raise money to exist as an organisation.
The left depends, or the strength of the left is shown by the diversity the left depends on the strength and diversity of the left wing, of the left press, of the press, of the radical press, the radical and revolutionary press, for its does that make sense?
Yeah, but and then just say socialist worker is.
Yeah, socialist workers makes an important contribution. An important contribution to this struggle.
And that's why you should support the improvement.
Well, yes, and good luck. Good luck and an end to sectarianism. In the end.
Good luck and an end to
sectarianism. Yeah. Very late there. Is it? Okay. Good. They're trying to reclaim the street people yet. Yes. We're doing well. It'd be quite nice to get some interaction with the people outside Lewis's, I think. Yeah, to get over there. You're not fit enough, Karim. To the right. To the right. Big red one. That's a very good one. And we might, after that, it might be a gentle pan all the way back to see it again. To see the end of it again. See what I mean? Right. But when we pick one more off, we should get on and get ahead of them, I think. When we've done one more, we'll go on and get ahead of them. So that we can get some on by the side of the street. That's quite nice, actually, all the people banked up there, isn't it? Yes, I mean, cutting to the, I think, just having that on the... Yes, the spectators and the police vans on the left. Nearly went. You've got to think back to those guys. Yeah, that's very good. It doesn't seem too bad, does it? That's a shot. Fun? Okay, see you later. Okay, yeah, bye-bye.
Congratulate you for land and freedom.
Oh, well,
Fabulous.
great.
Very
Okay.
fabulous. I've seen it in the Lumiere in...
Oh, yeah, in St Martin Lane.
yeah, and it was fabulous.
Very good, great.
Fantastic stuff.
Great, okay. Cheers then. Bye-bye. Right.
Okay, well, thank you. First of
Okay.
all, the first question, I'd like to ask you to tell me why you support the Liverpool Dockers.
And Liverpool Dockers are one of the few groups who have actually stood up and said no more. So it's a very important dispute, a very historic dispute, and that's why I support it.
Could it be possible for you to come to Paris to the conference and
well-
present your film, Land and Freedom?
Well, I'd like to come to the conference and present the film. The problem is I've got to get in the cutting room and cut this film about the Liverpool Dockers. And if I keep going to meetings, I shan't get the film cut. It won't be much use.
Okay.
So I'll try and come, but I think the probability is I'm going to be working. But I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye. All right, but you'll forgive me if I don't come.
No, okay. Thank you very much
Okay,
indeed. Thank
all
you.
the best.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. Right, I think we're going home now. Thank you. Okay, it's going home time, folks.
So you've obviously met Ken?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Eccentric.
You think he's eccentric?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, I think he's round the bend.
Why?
I think he's crazy. I love him. I think he's wonderful.
Crazy. You are the first person who told me that. Everybody has so respect for him. I'm sure you have a lot of
Oh, I
respect.
love him. I love the guy. I love him. But
Yeah,
you see,
I know that, but you are the first person who told me that he's crazy. Everybody told me he's serious, and then...
no, he's not serious at all. He's not. He's not. He's a practical joker. That's how he gets performances. He kids people. He says, "Go to the cupboard and take out a cup," and you go to the cup, everything could fall out to get it all ready. When I done Riff Raff, and the ladies opened the bathroom door, I was in the nude. They didn't know. I didn't know they were coming in. He just does it, you know. Changes things, and then he says to you, "What way would you do this?" And you tell him, and then he changes it just before he says action. So you never know which way you're going to work, and everything's fresh, and you have to think on your feet all the time with him. I'm probably the worst actor in the world for knowing the technical side of things, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know how things edit, or I don't want to know about the sound, and I don't want to know about the light. I just want to do what I do, and I probably don't do any scene the same twice, because the energy and the adrenaline. And but that's what's good with Loach. You see, he gives you that freedom. He lets you do it different. He encourages you to do it different.
When you're working with the other director, when you have Mark and
Mark, yeah.
Do you have Mark with Ken?
No, you don't have nothing with Ken. You don't have nothing. You know, he just says action, or he doesn't even say action. He says okay, and that's it. You just do it, do it.
And we spoke a lot with Ken about the distance between the camera and the actor, because he put the camera away from the action. Yeah. What do you think? It's a problem for you to have the camera just here?
No, but the snag is if you're with Ken, you forget about the camera. That's the thing. You forget about the camera. But you're doing the job.
If Ken put the camera here, for example, what do you think? You would have a problem?
I wouldn't personally, no, because the subject matter is too important. But it's obviously easier when it's out the way. It's a lot easier when it's out the way. But it's difficult to describe how he works. I've tried earlier on to say, but I don't know what he does. But he does it. It's like a football. I can kick a ball, but I can't bend it. I can't bend it like Georgie Best used to do, or Eusebio or Pelly. They do. It's a special skill. It's a special talent. This is what Loach has got. He's got probably a unique talent, even amongst filmmakers. You know, he does what he does.
Nice and quiet then. This will be a rehearsal on Jonas's action.
Action. Can you delay that, Bobby, a bit? Right, now can you go to your left and come out just another step? That's a good pause point, thank you. You need the mark there.
And can you tell me how you met him?
Yeah, it was I first met Ken in 1990. I was put forward by my agent at the time, and I had heard that Ken was looking for actors who had building site experience for Riff Raff. So I went to see him about that. Went through a series of maybe 6 or 7 improvised auditions, and eventually got the job in Riff Raff. So it was a long process, the longest process I'd ever went through in terms of getting any role with him. It's very difficult with Ken because you don't receive a script, so you don't really know what the story is about. For Carla's song, the only thing that I knew was my name was George and I drove a bus. That was the entire character detail for that role.
And when you work after in the classical movie or TV, for example, like here now, do you keep in mind your work with Ken, or you forget everything?
I think you have to forget. You have to forget because it's an entirely different process with Ken. Because there is no script, you perhaps get a page the night before the scene, or sometimes on the day, sometimes not at all. You have to be very, very open, and you have to just be prepared to experience anything that Ken is going to put in your path. With this, it's very different. Everything is laid out for you. You know exactly what you're going to do, scene by scene, moment by moment. So in a sense, with Ken, especially working with him a second time, I was far more experienced as an actor the second time I worked with him. I had to forget everything that I had learned, because the last thing that Ken wants to see is someone acting. As soon as Ken Loach, I think as soon as Ken Loach sees you acting, that's when he loses it. He doesn't see it anymore after that. It has to be real. It has to be accurate. It has to be plausible. If it's not, then Ken will lose it.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Please welcome on stage top female comedian, Miss Chrissy Rock.
Alright, stop now, we're not dancing. So from me to you, I'd like to say, you can put it on sometime this fucking night, right? No, it's times like this that wish I'd have listened to my mother and become a prostitute. Wouldn't have had far to come to it, would I? Standing up here, wouldn't be happening for Whitney Houston. Who's that? Is that you playing? Oh, Exide. He's at the back having a one. It's coming up. Tina. Then I never lost a minute of sleep, and I won't worry about big wheels keep on turning, round and keep on burning.
Chrissy, do you remember the first day you saw Ken Loach?
Oh,
Yeah.
shame.
I do.
I never knew who Ken Loach was, and it was like this man sitting in a room, and I thought he was going for the film too, because he had jeans on, and because I thought a director would be like flamboyant and hello and come in. And I walked in, I said, I hope there's no casting couch because I'm crap in bed. And he was like...
So, and did you discuss a lot with Ken before shooting or during shooting?
No, because I never asked questions, because I was like given a job to do and I would just do it. I wouldn't ask what I should do. He would advise me and say, okay, do this, and a little bit more anger, a little less anger. He would help to balance it for me. But it was once it was at a level, it was when the camera stops to change position, you'd have to sort of like, he'd come and say, no, that anger was just right. Don't let it drop and don't let it go too high. So it's like having gas on the boil. You have to, and you slowly lower it down so it can just stay like this instead of going like this or going down. And he gives you the confidence to say, you can do this.
How do you choose your actors? Do you work with your instincts?
Yeah, you'd have quite a long process of moving away from this thing. Move further back, Karim, further back.
It's like a knife.
Huh? Yeah,
like
it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
It's a question of trying to find a situation that they can be in, which would be as similar to how it would be in the film. So, improvising little scenes where you put them in a situation that it might be similar to what it would be in the film, and then see how they respond.
Yeah, but how do you know the inside? They could make a good improvisation, but how do you feel the human being? Because I was surprised when I met Vlad and Chrissy, how they are strong human beings.
Yeah. Well, you said that's what improvisation does. It reveals the person, because you can't do a good improvisation that involves some emotions without showing something about who you are. So, but I mean, people have different ways of auditioning, but that's what I think.
And you think the distance between the actor and the camera, it's a matter of moral? Is it moral? And
it's a matter of respect, I think.
Respect.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit?
Well, I think, you know, as in life, that if people are to genuinely react with each other and make a scene happen that is supposed to be believable and really has genuine emotions in it, then they have to have the space to do that. You can't. If you put a camera right in the middle of it, then that's going to intervene with the scene they're trying to make happen. So it's
but
it's a question of allowing them that space to create something. I mean, if you were trying to work and somebody was right over your shoulder, intervening between all the time, you couldn't work well. It's the same with actors. If the camera's intervening all the time, they can't. They need the space to create something between themselves.
Yeah, but it's not reality. It's fiction. It's a job. I mean, it's not real.
Well, but the point is to make the job is to make it real, to make it seem real, so that people believe it. Because if they believe it, then they understand people a little more. They see the scene and understand it and know what's happening, and it's more credible. Otherwise, that's the job. That is the point of it. But also, I think, as well as that, there is a sense in which a camera, the filmmaker, should respect the characters and shouldn't be forever pushing in amongst them and being obviously interventionist. The camera should show some discretion and respect.
I'm exactly the opposite. I think an actor must work with the camera. It must be afraid of the camera.
But the camera isn't part of the scene, you see. The camera isn't part of the scene. If you're making a scene between two people, it's not between two people and the camera.
Yeah, but it's not life. It's cinema, and the camera.
The cinema captures life. Cinema is about life. So the cinema isn't that important. Cinema is not so important. But what is happening away from the camera is important.
Yeah, but maybe because you're afraid of the camera yourself.
No, I'm not afraid.
And I mean, you don't like too much the camera.
Fun?
You don't like too much cameras. You hate cameras in a way.
No, I like them. I like what they record. You know, to see them. I like them to record something in a sympathetic way. That's the idea that that the camera is somehow intrudes and pushes into people. I find just bad manners.
So you think cinema is just recording live?
No, it's far more than that. But that's part of what a camera does, but it's far more than that.
So you didn't give the script to the actors?
No.
And from my point of view, it's if I have something hard to ask to do to the actors, and I should tell them before, of matter of respect, and you do exactly the opposite.
No, because it is based on trust. Because we trust each other.
But they don't know you before.
No, but you soon get to know each other. I mean, filmmaking is a fairly intense process, isn't it? So the barriers are soon down, you know. I mean, but when you start making auditions, the barriers are soon down.
Yep.
Because the director must make himself vulnerable as well. You know, you can't sit there in a position of power and expect other people to be vulnerable. You have to, in a way, to put yourself on the line as well, which is quite, well, it's quite such a, I think if it works, it's it's a very emotionally demanding job, because you have to put yourself on the line. You know, you have to make yourself vulnerable and open. Otherwise, it's not fair. You're asking people to be.
For customers who've done train at Watford Junction, welcome aboard the 1222 into Cinema Escorts train to Liverpool Line Street. Due to arrive at 14:50. Sorry for the late departure for train and for the delaying return.
See, we're late already.
We late?
We're late, leaving Watford, yes. Well, this is British Railways, which needs more money in order to make it efficient. No, that's another story.
You need all time to talking about politics.
Well, not really. It would be nice if the trains ran on time, but they don't. So you have to talk about. I mean, you're forced to confront these things.
And your next film?
I don't know. I'm working on a script with Paul Laverty, and working on this in Glasgow. I'm working on a script with Jim Allen to be in Manchester, and then both Paul and Jim will work on 2 other scripts. So there's 4 projects that we have in mind, plus this documentary. So that'll keep us going till next Christmas.
Why you are working so lot? Because are you afraid to not working?
Well, time's running out, really.
That's why you're working so long.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to shoot a little bit?
Okay.
It's rolling.
It's rolling.
Yeah, do what you want. It's rolling. It's all automatic.
It's all. So
I know you hate that. It's
yeah. But no, you have to. I see.
I see. Not if you.
So. I see. Is this the size you're on?
No, we can change the zoom.
Right.
Put to the side.
What were you? Did you include the table?
You don't want, no, I avoid the table.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. It's not a very.
It was a respectable shot.
It was respectable.
Don't worry, I respect you a lot.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. I don't really. It's okay. You don't need any shots to intercut with it, do you?
I don't need what?
Any shots to intercut.
No, I don't need it.
Okay.
I hate that.
Yes,
no,
right.
Don't cut. So maybe.
Okay.
No, on n'a pas fait un, on en a fait un au début. Wait.
Okay. Tape is cheap.
You give me a clap and clap de fin. How do you say clap de fin in English?
End board.
End board.
Okay. We always use end boards. That's another.
You like end boards?
Always end boards. Well, there's nothing more distracting than at the start when people are feeling in a. Yeah, you're right. When people are feeling in a particularly in the right emotional situation to do a scene, and somebody comes in and puts a big board in front of their face, it's an aggressive thing to do. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a number of things in filmmaking that are aggressive, and we do it so often we don't realise how aggressive they are. And putting on a clapperboard right in front of somebody's nose, just before they're about to play a scene, is just aggressive.
Yeah. And I noticed something start to beginning just after the end. For example, now we say clap de fin, end boards, and something happens just at the end.
Yes,
and the best thing sometimes happens when it's almost finished.
Yeah. That's why the one word never to say is cuts. Really. Another word never to say is action, because that's what do you do when somebody says action? You kind of, it's like you jump, and that's the last thing you want. So you want, I think anyway, you want the film that you shoot to be like a seamless part of what is happening anyway. So then say action, then say cut.
And how you separate your private life and the cinema? I cannot do that. I mix everything.
Well, I just go home, really. I just go home and cut the grass and go and watch the football team, and that's something else.
Do you like football?
Yeah, I do like football. Do you?
Yeah, but I know nothing about football. I prefer box.
Boxing?
Yeah, you hate boxing.
Oh no,
Yeah.
this is...
It's not human, no?
No, it's too violent for me. And a little violence on the football pitch is okay, but that's enough.
Football, it's violent too, and...
Well, it's quite hard, but I don't know. No, I mean, I just enjoy watching it.
Yeah. You are not a fighter?
No. Well, not a physical fighter, no.
I mean, you are a mental fighter.
Well, I hope so, from time to time.
Yeah, Maggie's heroes, on the pavement, please. Maggie's heroes!
We can't get much from here. No, I'm just looking for Tony.
Maggie's heroes!
I think he's up here. He's up here. Up here. Yeah. No, I can't see him.
How can you qualify Ken Loach? For you, what you have special than the other directors don't have?
Well, the first thing is we interested in the same subjects, which I think is driven by politics. Yeah. His method of working, away from the traditional method, I suppose, of improvisation. I like that. But basically, it's just that we seem to agree on the same subjects. Since we started working together 28, 29 years ago, we've followed the same kind of path. In a way, we've made the same film all the time. Yeah.
And what is this film?
So, struggle, working people. We're comfortable with working people in struggle. And the same theme keeps appearing again and again and again. Whether it's Northern Ireland, we're here in the agenda, whether it's Raining Stones, Land and Freedom, Days of Hope, whatever. The same spine, the same theme runs through it. Yeah?
So that means you're making cinema to change the society?
Yeah, but I have no illusions. Films don't change society. But maybe among all the dross, all the shit that comes out of Hollywood, all the action films, the Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that, maybe there's room for films which maybe enlighten, maybe blow a whistle and say, look, what's happening here? And maybe gives a voice to certain things that which are never heard of. Otherwise, all we get is the crap from Hollywood all the time.
And where come from your inspiration?
Where what?
Your inspiration. Are you going often to the cinema, for example?
No, no, no. The inspiration comes from the life I live around. Everybody works for me. When I go in a pub, I hear all the time, stories, stories, stories. So these create things, you know. That's what I feed off. That's the well from where I draw my water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And are you a pessimistic man?
No, optimist.
You're optimist.
Yeah, got to be.
So you think the world will
I
change?
I think the world's in a terrible mess. I think the rise of fascism in Italy, for example, scares shit out of me. But I have a hope that people will bounce back. I have a hope that people
will resist fascism. I have a hope that the more the jackboot goes in, the more people will rebel against it. I hope that humanity will come to the top. I don't believe evil has a monopoly. And given the right leadership, I think the people can change things. I mean, the alternative is too terrible to think about. Because if it doesn't happen that way, it will happen the other way, which is fascism.
Do you think one day you will write a comedy for Ken Loach?
Not comedy as comedy, but every film I write for Ken will have that comedy in it. That working class, hard comedy, so hard you can touch it, you know. Comedy rooted in tragic or whatever, but comedy, yes.
Are you like Ken with discipline? Are you, do you have a lot of discipline yourself?
Not much, but the most important discipline is self-discipline. I am totally without discipline in my life apart from my work. I don't jog, I don't play golf. I work and then I go in a beer house, the pub, and have a drink. That's all I do. But I'm disciplined in my work. I always work. I never stop working. Ken lives like a saint. Doesn't drink, sits at home, you know. I'm not like that. Different personality.
The whole point here is men have got to get up and say it. Don't talk on the picket line. Now, I missed this morning, but all this week it's been that. What they should be doing. Well, have the balls and backbone and get up and say it. Because I'll say it, I want me job, and I want to pass me job on to my grandson, and that's the only thing I want to do in this life.
Let's put it down tonight. That's our own private means of anything's got to be said. Not on television like this. Let's leave it out. That's the media.
If you want to know what my opinion was, I'm going to tell you my opinion. Wait a minute.
The space suggested by Bobby is that we ask the media to remove themselves from the aisle and we'll continue with this discussion. Can you agree? All right, so the media likes to leave.
It just got tasty. I think it was bound to happen really. It's a pity just when we got tasty. Never mind. I think we should take the stuff back to the room on. We've got to get down and across.
The platform could have waved outside.
Not really. I think
yes.
They
could have said, you know, we've had the media here all the while and we've got nothing to hide.
No, I can understand that. I think it was the guys in the audience who felt that they wanted just to be able to talk in private, which is fair enough, really. I don't reject that. I think that's reasonable. You know, if you're having a discussion, you perhaps sometimes want it in private. That's fair enough. The problem is we're locked in.
But what about the media that is supporting the Dockers, fully supporting the Dockers? No, you're not biased, you're giving a balanced report. But what about the media that is fully supporting the Dockers?
Well, I think we're all supporting the team, but you still need, this is entitled to talk in private. I mean, that's reasonable enough. I don't object to that. Anyway, I think we're...
No, I think that was a phony one, that. I think that was a phony move. That's the first time that's happened. Yeah. Because that's the first time that the Dockers have decided to stand up and speak.
No, I don't really like that.
Of course it was.
No.
It was the first time they decided to go and go and speak.
Well, I didn't really like that at all. Which paper do you write for?
If it's not, if I'm not allowed up there, I'm not allowed on that either.
Which paper are you writing for? Which paper are you writing for?
Morning Star.
Oh.
But I'm not writing, I'm more or less an observer. So, well, so if I'm not recorded up there, I'm not allowed to listen up there.
Yes,
So
it's not a current affairs program actually. No. So, you're on. So, do you know a way out?
What?
Do you know a way out?
This is it, isn't it?
We're locked.
No.
We're stuck in
We're
it.
Are you Ken Loach?
Yeah. I thought you were telling me off of it.
No, it wasn't you. I didn't know who you were. I didn't know who you was. I just seen it somewhere, Ken Loach.
Yeah. No, we did it. It's half for the BBC and half for French and German. But I guess we're all supporting them then. So that's there you go.
Jim.
Oh God, everywhere I look, there's fucking cameras. Like hunted and haunted. God, this rain is just remorseless, isn't it? It's a bit tricky. It's not very normal to sit forward, is it, really?
That's
Yeah. That's okay.
You're okay.
You're worried about the kick-off and not getting the kick-off?
It's just that's probably all right. Let me do just a quick look.
Yeah, okay. Better make it look good.
That's the wider one. And then you've just got this kind of light.
Yes. Jimmy, would it be awkward to like sit forward rather than sitting on? Yeah.
No, that's
better,
yeah.
That's good. Lean on that table.
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, we'll kick off then. All right. Turn it over when you fit. Yeah. So, Jimmy, when did you start on the dance? Yeah.
You're leaning forward.
Oh, right.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep me out at all costs.
Okay, Ken.
When did you start on the dance?
Started in 1964. It was all conventional cargo then.
And how do you use your imagination when you direct?
How do I use my imagination? With some desperation actually at 7 o'clock in the morning when you don't know what to say. Well, you have to use your imagination to stimulate everyone else's imagination. I mean, you use your imagination when you're collaborating on the script, obviously. You have to use your imagination to find the right people, to construct circumstances which will reveal who the right people are in the auditions, to sketch in the earlier life of the characters, to make the relationships happen before you even start to turn over the film. I don't know. I mean, imagination is everything.
And are you not afraid to making all time the same style?
Well, having a consistent style isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I don't know. Would you make the same charge against a painter, for example, or a novelist, or?
It's a question.
I know, but I mean it's.
And I mean, maybe the danger is to stay to make all time the same style and to not take the risk.
Well, you take a lot of risks in filming this way. I mean, it's a you're really walking the tightrope without a safety net, because, for example, in casting, if you cast somebody, I mean, I try to cast somebody that the audience will believe is the person in the film. So that means you don't have a well-known stars, you don't necessarily have experienced actors, but you have somebody in whose presence and whose background and personality fits absolutely the part they're supposed to be in the film. Well, if they're not very experienced, then all kinds of things can go wrong. I mean, they might just go off the tracks. The thing might fall apart. There's no professional body of work to say, yes, well, I know they will deliver that script. You know, so I mean, all the time, you know, we're very, very on the edge of something collapsing altogether. So that's you know, that's dangerous. And we always work on low light levels so that you're not flooding the actor's face with light, which would be false. So there's always the actual texture of the image is always very much on the edge. And in every way, you know, in not like if we're working in a pub or a bar, then you don't empty the bar and fill the bar with extras so you can control everything. You know, we'd usually try and go in the bar and have just whatever's happening. So they can get too noisy, they can get too quiet, they might come over and start a fight around the camera, isn't it? But so you're on the edge all the time, really. And the style, such as it is to frame the shot so that you can get the most out of whatever's happening. Whether it's a loose shot or a close shot or a pan or whatever, you get the most out of whatever's happening. So the style is there to serve the thing that's in front of the camera, rather than saying, oh yes, I'd like a track that starts in the light bulb and finishes up across the settee and finishes up in the ashtray. And in the course of that shot, somebody will have a row with their husband and then go and drink a bottle of vodka and then come back and stub the cigarette out. I mean, to choreograph all that means everything is absolutely locked off and precise so that you have all the focus marks, you have all the camera positions, and by the time you've done that, all the life has gone, you know. So I think that the style is absolutely about revealing the content in a way that's kind of pleasing and satisfying, but also very pertinent.
Why not? You're not making one comedy?
Well, yeah, I say it's a question of finding the right subject, really.
So you're not against making a comedy?
No, I'm very much in favour of it, really. I mean, life is a comedy, as we've been observing these last 2 weeks. I mean, it's
poison spray. Point it in the direction of the camera. Kill the camera under the poison spray.
Well, there is one at your left, Ken.
Fun? Swine. Schweinhund. There is two here. Just here. No, true. There is two very big ones. Really? Tu es? The other one's there you go, your spray.
Non, please, don't. Non, il va nous tuer là. Non, Christophe, c'est pas fait pour ça. Christophe, tu l'as pas trouvé.
Okay, quick. There. Go, Amelie. What lies.
Non, Christophe. Why, Christophe? Non, please.
Okay, what? Yeah, mad bastard. Use it again. Oh, fuck's sake, lies. It's got the fucking mosquito and out the camera crew.
de mayas, donde se podrían mostrar películas.
Como este tamaño, un poco más pequeño. Pero después la vamos a llevar al Corobián.
Ah, sí, sí, sí.
4 días.
4 días.
No, además grande.
Turbo allá.
This is a really good day for us because we've managed to have a showing in the university at a day's notice, and so they've managed to get a projector into a room, and 100 students have just turned up, or over 100 students I think have just come up at an hour's notice to come and see the film. And it's the kind of showing that I like, because the film is projected onto a wall, and it's not like a grand event in a cinema. It's like resistance filmmaking, so it has a very direct sort of relationship with the people, and it's just very nice. If you'd like a pair of boots, this is the place to get them. They'll slaughter your feet. I mean, you'll be a cripple for life, but the boots look good.
Do you want to try one?
No, I think not. No, my days of wearing boots are long gone.
But you change your look.
No, it's okay. I'll look comic enough without a hat.
Subjective, you can... Ken, do you like street life?
Yeah, I think it's very. It's always interesting, and it's why people sit in cafes and just watch, like the parade. They're gratis. What else do we do down here? Yeah. Oh yes.
Discipline, it is very important for you. Can you tell me what is discipline for you?
Discipline is smiling when you want to cry, really. Discipline is when people are making you angry, is not being angry. Discipline is just keeping the momentum going, when you really want to stop, I guess, is the time you need discipline. I mean, discipline is self-discipline, really, because if you have self-discipline, then other people will respect what you say. If you don't have self-discipline, they take no notice. Yeah, yes, this is... My friend makes the most important point of filming at all. The most important discipline of all is discipline of the bowels, Because if you're filming in oh, he's got the money. Yeah. No, that's
The wallet?
no, he's got the wallet.
He's got your wallet.
He's
got your wallet.
With what?
No, he hasn't got the wallet. No, he hasn't got the wallet.
No, he hasn't.
No.
No, he's got some quarters.
Give me your wallet.
I got no sense of what was going on.
It was at a corner of both other people behind it. It was very well done, actually.
From him?
No, because there was three of them.
Yes,
One banged into me, somebody banged in. And it was just like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's well rehearsed.
you know. I think they must have been watching your plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Pleasure.
Pleasure, mind your own business, I think really is the answer to
Can I repeat again because...
Oh, Christ, the best take.
We have a track.
Well, it's as well my words are hidden by the track, really. You can imagine my reply, and that makes it more interesting.
Less is more.
Less is more, yes. Don't say it yet.
Well, the pleasure you can talk about is your 10 o'clock coffee,
Yes,
really.
yes, the pleasure is 10 o'clock in the morning, a cup of coffee is very good. But one thing does strike me as very interesting is that there's a number of far more pregnant women in Esteli than usual. Now, we were filming here like 8.5 months ago, and you're forced to wonder whether this rise in pregnancy has anything to do with the presence of a film crew for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's by the way. Sorry.
So, when I told you this word pleasure, I mean your pleasure as a director. Do you make this job because you have a lot of pleasure or not? Is that your motivation? For me, for example, my first motivation is my pleasure to make this job. And for you?
No, I think pleasure is not the word that springs to mind at 7 o'clock on a wet Monday morning when you don't know what the hell you're going to say, and things turn up late, and you find you've made one or two fundamental errors in constructing the scene. I mean, pleasure is not the first word that comes to mind. So, no, I think satisfaction is more appropriate than pleasure.
Did you take pleasure from your satisfaction?
No, there's a kind of puritanical element, you see, to British culture which doesn't admit to pleasure. It's something illicit, you know. This is where our cultural differences appear.